Previously on AFTN.
Hopefully the national team gets better sponsors than they have had, like a Suntan, I think, company that was one sponsor. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. I remember they were giving out samples at one of the games. And then obviously Amway was
that
one.
Was just a dream of yours, I think. Oh, I remember getting deodorant back in Swan Guard. No. That might have been at BC Place. Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. If you listen to this show on the podcast, this is episode 257. I am the new NXT North American champion, Michael McCall.
I'm Steve Pander.
And I'm Zachary Eisenhower.
I thought you'd enter into the spirit, especially Steve.
No, sorry, I'm just doing the initial setup.
It's wrestling weekend. I mean, everyone loves Men in Tights. Big fan. Pantomimes, wrestling, private life, Men in Tights. It's the way to go. WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania was tonight. A whole, 7 hours of it, I think it ended up.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was too much. Last year was too much. This year was way too much.
Well, essentially what we did was at 4 o'clock we started. So it was only 5 hours for us. We watched the first three pre-match shows and forwarded through all the talking, and then we caught up eventually and watched till the end.
Yeah, I fast-forwarded I fast-forwarded a lot of it, but the first 4 hours in particular I definitely fast-forwarded. I was disappointed. Not a lot of stuff that really grabbed me from it. If you haven't seen it, we won't do any spoilers if you're going to catch up.
Thank you so much for that.
I know, because Zach's probably got it on his video recorder, his Betamax, and he's going to watch it when he gets home overnight. He won't even go to bed. He's that excited. For me, NXT and Ring of Honor on Saturday night were way more exciting.
Yeah.
I won't spoil that for Steve, because Steve hasn't watched Ring of Honor.
Was Robbo in the Ring of Honor?
No, he wasn't. Well, he is, but he wasn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my homage to the new NXT champion, Aleister Black, Fade to Black. Steve is wearing his Shinsuke Nakamura Strong Style t-shirt.
I don't want to spoil it, but...
you can talk about it. If folk haven't seen it, then it's their loss.
No, the new heel Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yes. And
can I choose between the two shirts?
Yeah, what one do you prefer?
Well, I'll go with Steve's.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel it's more theologically accurate.
Yeah. And Zach is wearing his heel t-shirt for Curva Collective, the heel group of the Whitecaps supporters groups. Always against the authority. Oh, actually, maybe that makes you the babyface, because you're against the authority.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You've no idea what we're talking about. So let's just move on to matters that you will know what we're talking about. Vancouver Whitecaps. Another fun-filled Saturday night for folk watching at home. We'll look at the RSL match in the first couple of parts. We're aiming for a shorter podcast tonight, shorter show. I know I say that every week.
Your aim is so good, Michael.
My aim is as accurate as Darren Mattocks when he had a Whitecap shirt.
I was going to say your aim is in the same line as you having one favorite. One favorite interview.
Yeah. we do hope to finish at 12:30. I've got an early start tomorrow, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this edited until the evening, so I'd like to go home and try and get it edited before I eventually do go to bed.
I have a later start tomorrow, so.
We'll rattle through
I have
this.
a start tomorrow, which I usually don't have.
Oh no, this is...
Oh, then this will be quick.
Let's talk really quick. So the RSL match, it was played on Saturday night, and then there's another trip to Utah, and it didn't do very well. And yeah.
What else is new?
That was it.
But they've had some good games in Utah, because I know I was at one.
Yeah, well, I was at one that was absolutely god-awful in 2011. But that's going back a bit too far.
Do you know the difference between the good one I've been to two, the good one that I was at and yesterday's game? Two words.
Nicholas Mosquito.
Russell Tybert.
Well, funnily enough...
The game I was at, he served up a tasty cross for Darren Mannix. And
Gareth Wolfe wrote an article that we had up on the site on Saturday saying that Russell Tybert could be the solution to the Whitecaps midfield, and someone left a comment saying, this is embarrassing.
Right. But three starts, 3 wins.
Yeah, can't knock it. Didn't start in Salt Lake, and they lost.
And it was surprising too, considering I thought he had a decent game the week before.
Yes.
Well, I actually thought it would be rotation and Ali Ghazal would come in. So I was more surprised by that.
Ali
than
Ghazal
Tybert
would be difficult because of the conditions, the altitude conditions, because he's not fully fit either.
No, I was thinking more. He's coming back from hamstring, and in the cold, the tightness of the
That's
hamstring can be an issue.
So we'll delve into the match. Just general thoughts on it to start with. RSL had 6 players injured. They had 2 more going off injured during the first half. Just what was your thoughts?
There you go. The kryptonite of the Whitecaps, a depleted team.
That plus Russell Tybert?
Yeah, that plus Russell Tybert.
Well, why can't we put these teams away? I mean, RSL were pretty poor.
Maybe they weren't poked enough at halftime.
Well, I'll ask Robbo that next week. Did they need a bigger poking? What does he poke them with? Where does he poke them? These are questions that we need answered.
I'm sure you'll get the answers this week.
We're not going to do the questions and complete the sentences this week because it didn't go very, very well last week. I had 3 written and then I decided no.
Did Joe give you any feedback on that?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
I was going to ask you, how would you rate the Whitecaps' performance as a wrestler, past or present? But then I thought you'd have no idea what we're talking about.
No, because as a child I watched some of the wrestling.
Because it's a children's thing. Unlike
that's a valid perspective, I think.
Okay, what wrestler would you compare the Whitecaps' performance to then?
Maybe. Oh man, no. I was going to say Sergeant Slaughter, like kind of workmanlike and like hardworking, but kind of underwhelming overall.
I was going to go with Bray Wyatt. Always teases that they're going to do something really good and then just disappoints on the big stage.
Or maybe the Bushwhackers, like a little bit crazy, like you have Breck Shea up there.
I'm trying to do my Bushwhackers impression.
That was great.
Great for radio. Steve, any input?
Well, I have to get back to me on that.
Okay. He's an easier one then, Zach. Rate that performance on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the high.
I don't know. Maybe is I just look in your eye. Is 6? I was going to say 6 too generous.
6 was initially the number I thought of, and I thought that was too generous, so I moved it to 4 because 6 makes it above average, and it wasn't above average.
The harder thing is they didn't get the result. The first half, especially, felt like a pretty good performance. Created chances. Probably you would say they created the better chances in the game. And there's pressing. Yes, and there's things that happened in the first half that went against them, that on a different night, or if it was against them, it would have went a different way. That one should have been, or if that was against them and that was a sending off, everyone in MLS would be like, oh yeah, that was a sending off.
Yeah, right. Let's delve
straight to jump ahead.
No, let's delve straight into that because that was the big talking point. Marcelo Silva's tackle on Kai Kamara.
Yes.
Now, I was pretty convinced it was going to be a VAR and it was going to be a red card handed out upon review. The replay showed to me clearly it was wild. It was out of control. He jumped in.
Put him in danger.
Kai Kamara tweeted out later that his leg is black, blue, purple.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really bad challenge. I cannot believe that was not a red card. If that's not a red card, then what is a red card these days?
So what that means is that whoever's in charge of VAR that day, I forget who it was now, but whoever's in charge of the VAR that day said it's not clear and obvious that that's a sending off. The referee's made a decision. I don't think it's clear enough, which is kind of crazy. And you would see that kind of thing. You go back and think about Matthias Laba being sent off like a few years ago against LA or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if they had VAR then, there's no way that would.
Well, if the thing is that wasn't clear and obvious to even check, then definitely the Waston one from a couple. How did that become clear and obvious?
No, but that's the thing. They did check. They watched those things. They decided it's not clear and obvious enough
for the referee to check.
to look
No,
at
that's
it.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But how come the Waston one was clear and obvious to them?
Because it's
check?
Waston. Because I mean, some people will say it's because it's Vancouver and because it's Waston, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's fair or not, that's one perspective.
Now, I mean, we might sound biased talking about that, and especially when I'm going to bring up the next thing, just going back 12 minutes before that, I thought Adam Henley was lucky to stay on the park with his tackle. Yeah. And to me, that was another one that could have been reviewed. The two of them, I think 2 red cards, but Silva definitely for me is a red card. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Disco ends up looking at it and gives him a red card. And
we're basing this on what the standards are, not what our personal opinions are. Because personal opinion, I like those kind of tackles. I don't mind them that much. But the standards they've set, MLS, is that those should be red cards.
Not that they'll care.
Or at least,
but you really think they're going to go back and give suspension for that? And then that 2 games this year where they've gone back and changed what's happened to Vancouver in losses on the road?
Yeah. Yeah, that
I don't know that they care about
point.
the perception, but that's pretty telling. 2 out of 4 games?
Yeah. But wasn't a great half for Silva. He nearly put it in his own net, which would have been, if he had, that would have been like, okay, I'm glad you stayed on.
Yeah.
But then he didn't, so he was lucky to stay on that pitch. But I mean, that just summed up
the first 45 was good. The extra time.
Yeah. I mean,
time added on. Sorry.
The Caps had a couple of decent breaks forward. Alphonso Davies wasted that final ball twice.
Well, it looked like he shot instead of.
Was it though? It didn't seem like a shot.
It was
a pass.
It was like a cross come shot.
Yeah, I love my cross come shots usually, but it was neither. That was neither a cross nor a shot.
And his mentor did not look happy.
No, Kamara was screaming. Obviously, he was screaming a few minutes later when Silva went into his leg, but. Yeah, I mean, Fonzie, we'll talk about him in the second part, but he has to do better there. And I know it's an experience, but he has to do better. As does the team defending that goal that gave RSL the lead. I mean, that was a sickener. 4 minutes into stoppage time, totally against the run of play. RSL were dreadful in that first half. Luis Silva.
Open space.
So much space, so much time. He turned, had a seat, made a cup of tea, got himself back up again, slotted it home.
Yeah. Well, it deflected off the Whiskey's foot.
Where were the centre-backs?
Well, they overloaded to that left side.
Yeah.
Because of I think it was a throw-in or something, if I remember correctly.
Not for the first time in that afternoon either.
But also, I think a little bit has to be put on Juarez. He was playing in that position right in front of Silva, and did not see that Jake had 2 guys to deal with, and he should have dropped back in order to cover that Silva as he was coming in. So you got to throw a little bit of Juarez too at this one.
Yeah, I mean, no one really covered themselves with glory there, but I mean, RSL. We're going to come to a comment, a regular poster on AFTN, a guy we've talked about in the show before, Matic left on AFTN in our report and reaction thing. He said that RSL were a disgrace in that half. And he knows that I go by the any means necessary approach. I tip my hat to them. They did what they needed to do. They took the one chance that they had. They Vancouvered Vancouver.
Yeah.
By soaking up the pressure, getting that one chance and burying it.
Yeah.
But you thought that would light a fire under the Whitecaps.
It was ripe for a poking.
Yeah. And you thought, it's going to be Columbus all over.
Yeah.
They're going to come out, poked to bits. Nothing happened.
Yeah, second half was far more disappointing.
I mean, the only thing that really tested Raimondo was 11 minutes left, and Teixeira had a long-range strike.
Yeah. That took with 11 minutes left before that first.
Now, that was set up by a great ball out by Marinovic, which I am possibly worried about that Disco might also look at, because I don't know how much you picked up on it, but Marinovic aims a little punch at whatever RSL player was in front of him to make space so he could kick the ball out. And I really thought that they would go back and review it on VAR. But on the plus side, the game went on. There wasn't a stoppage for ages. And it was a very inexperienced and newer referee. And hopefully he just forgot. But I am a little bit worried they might go back and look at that. Because it did seem that he swung a punch there. But to get to the 79th minute, and that's the only time that you test Raimondo, that's just completely unacceptable. Which then raises the questions as well. Were the right subs brought on at the right time? Were they brought on too late? And I was going to talk about Anthony Blundell in the second part, but let's talk about that now. Why bring him on?
So late
in the last 10 minutes, 8 minutes I think it was to go. Yeah. He's a guy that we've seen what he can do before he came here. He's got all those goals in the Venezuelan Premier League. And you could say, well, it's not a top league. To score that amount of goals in any top league is a great feat. So to bring him on that late in the day just makes no sense to me whatsoever when there was no spark at all. And even when he did come on, I don't even know, did he touch the ball? I don't even remember him even getting the ball.
No, there wasn't not effective touching where it was like going to be put any danger on the RSL defense. Yeah,
the substitutes were a concern. I agree with you. Blundell is too late. It was too late.
It was the right subs, I think, that Shea was for me.
Okay, I would be okay with Shea, but not for Marcel de Jong. I've not really enjoyed the.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that now.
I've not enjoyed Davies and Shea together holistically. Like obviously, it's produced some stuff going forward.
I like the idea of it because it gives both of them Shea played defence in Orlando. It gives the two of them the chance to overlap, so when one goes forward, the other one drops back. In theory, that isn't what's happening. Shea never seems to be the guy that's asked to drop back. It's always Fonzie, and they're thinking he's got pace to burn. He can pick the ball up and just run at them. Nothing's going to happen.
Well, let me put it this way. It feels like, especially in these away games, Marcel is not encouraged to get forward as much.
Yes.
So Marcel is more conservative or more defensive. Davies goes wild for 60 to 70 minutes, whatever. Not wild. Davies plays his role, attacking role as much as possible, help out. And then they're like, okay, yeah, we want to get more out of the fullback spot, so we'll put Davies back there because he can recover or whatever, and bring on Shea because he can play the left side well and has contributed and all that. To me, I would rather them, whether it's early in the game or later in the game, unshackle Marcel more to get forward and to put service in the box.
Because we saw last year in the second half of the year what he can do when he's going forward and some of the balls that he put in as well.
His service isn't perfect, but I think it's.
But interestingly, Nerwinski seems a bit more shackled in games.
It seems like he's not pushing forward as much as he normally did last year. I mean, and he's got the athletic ability to do that. Yeah. That's why he was drafted for that.
The success we had last year was fullbacks going forward and set piece delivery and set piece
and
finishing.
To your thing about we asked that question when we did the rank the caps, and we'll get to the rank caps later. But we asked, do the caps need a better option to improve the attack other than moving Davies to left back? 84% said yes, we need him to play in a higher attacking position, and 16% said no, he's a threat from the back.
Well,
which I do agree, he's a threat from the back.
He's a threat, no doubt.
But I think Marcel can be that threat too.
I agree with that. So for me, I think it would have been more appropriate to bring on Shea, who we've talked about his contributions already. Bring him on for Bernie. Bernie contributed. I felt really strongly in Columbus. Not as good a game in RSL, and I thought that would have been a better sub. Whether you leave Shea on the right, well, you probably put Shea on the left and Fonzie on the right. But I thought that would have been a better option. And with the adjustment of encouraging Marcel to join the attack more and put in more service.
Because and you expect that too, because like you said at the beginning, they were missing a lot of players, and so you expect them to. Why not push the fullbacks forward?
Yeah,
and drop one of your
a perfect game for
your midfielders back
that.
To cover or something.
Do we think this is going to be the tactic though long term?
I hope not.
That Davies is going to be asked to play this role.
I would like to see them try this other thing. I don't think they will, but I would like to see something else try.
I don't think yesterday. I think Davies this is going to be a really common thing that they do.
Like I would have rather had them stick Shea on the left, put Davies maybe in the middle, and bring one of the midfielders off.
Middle would have been fine too. Yeah, give him some freedom.
Now, Davies got a criticism in some quarters. Well, Twitter, so you take that with a pinch of salt, but in this case, it is
a pinch of salt.
It is not a pinch of real salt. We didn't get to pinch them at all, really. But the artificial salt.
That's because Diego Rodriguez no longer is a Whitecap.
Oh, yes. Was that against RSL? Awesome.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Oh, that would have been even better. But the goal that basically won it for RSL, the second one, wrapped up 2 minutes to go, an easy tap-in from Jefferson Savarino. Davies got a lot of criticism for the proof that he isn't a defender because he just kind of stood there. He didn't try and get a challenge in or block him or get in front of him or anything.
He was with his man, but then he went to look at the ball.
Yeah,
and as he looked at the ball, then he got caught watching.
And the attacker, the RSL player, name is skipping me right now, but he jumped in front of Davies. He actually was behind him and just scooped
Savarino.
Savarino, yeah. He scooped around him. And kind of curled around him and everything. The one guy that I wished was a little bit more on his running back faster was Aja.
Yeah.
Who kind of...
well, that's the thing again. Where were the centre-backs?
Well, Waston was covering the pass. He was...
But why was he needing to do that? That's the thing. It's you want your centre-backs more in the middle.
Jake was out of position, I think, because
yeah.
Kendall had to step in sort of in between the right centre-back and the right back.
But we lost 2 goals on Saturday night from the middle of the goal, with no centre-backs anywhere around. Well, Aja was close to the second one, but just running back a bit too slow. And we'll talk about the defence in the second part, but I mean, it was just so disappointing.
The one thing about the first goal is it was hard to, it deflected in, right? Like, if Jake gets a half an inch different on that, maybe it's a corner, right? But yeah, I hear your point.
Yeah. And then that was it. Finished 2-0 if you watched TSN. Wasn't any more goals. Rick Shea pulled one back in stoppage time. Or did he? Who knows?
Well, to be fair, when you're not in the stadium, it's... And
it was very confusing because the whistle went, Shea kicked the ball away, and he was kind of mouthing off like, what?
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I was watching it with half an eye by that point because I had something else that was streaming, and I thought it had finished 2-0. And then I just went to check because was watching it on delay. So then I thought, I'll just get the substitutions for the match report. I was like, 2-1? What? That counted? So I was really confused because I was just going by what Pete had said on the broadcast.
But that was the very Route 1 ball.
It was a great finish. Great strike.
Davies hoof forward right, Kai knock on, and then, or was it 1-2 or whatever, and then just smash.
Well, there was a touch that on the broadcast they were talking about. Was it a handball on the RSL?
Yeah.
On the highlights they said that was it a handball, but it might have been inadvertent. Obviously, it wasn't clear.
When you get one handball callback from VAR the week before, you get a free one the week after.
Okay.
It's like collecting stamps. Yeah.
So just to wrap this section up, just quick end thought on it. The Caps outshot RSL 11-9.
Had better possession.
53 point something in possession.
That was another.
That would have broke the bookies if you'd bet that. You'd got good odds on them having over 50% possession. Is it that we just can simply not play with this team when we're controlling a game?
Are
they so used to not having possession?
I personally think the personnel I wish they had better personnel choices.
Vancouver has traditionally struggled with teams that put a lot of people behind the ball and say, break us down.
Yeah.
And so you got to give some credit to Mike Petka for fixing it. Right? He said, I think it was the week before, he said, I'm going to fix it.
A couple of weeks ago.
I know what's wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to fix it. So he knew what to do against Vancouver. He did it. It wasn't pretty, but he fixed it.
And we'll hear from Mike Petka in part 2, and we'll be back with more chat about the RSL game after this.
Hi, I'm Alphonso Davies, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Up to Wolfie, Barney, the countdown jockey. Come on everybody, step up to the hockey and have a throw. Just let it go. Shout to Bobby George and Eric Bristow. In the 80s, it was all about bullseye. I saw it on TV, so I gave it a try. I guess a new dad board every birthday. When I grows up, I wanna be Tony O'Shea.
Pretend out finish, 8-8.
Lose yourself to dance.
4-4.
Lose yourself to dance.
2-2.
Lose yourself to dance.
1-1.
Friends of the show, Goldie Looking Chain, back, but not with a football song this week, a dart song. I've got a selection of non-football songs for Wavelength for when we eventually run out. Steve can't wait for that. He just got that reaction there.
Oh, was the mic live?
So that was Lose Yourself to Darts. Not Dance, not Daft Punk. Might have sounded like Daft Punk, but it was Lose Yourself to Darts. And we play that song with a heavy heart. Another week goes by, we have to pay a tribute to somebody else on AFTN, Eric Bristow.
It just never ends.
I know, the crafty Cockney.
This is a tragic week.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about all those things. But Eric Bristow, crafty Cockney, died, 60 years old. Can't believe a lifetime of smoking and drinking beer caught up with him. But
he was playing darts. That's got to burn off some of that.
But he was at the Premier League darts on Thursday night. He had just done an exhibition.
Yeah, I heard he left, right? Or something?
No, he was still there. 10 minutes later.
No, that's what had happened. I mean, he was
taken
taken to hospital from there. Yeah.
So very, very sad. Eric Bristow, big part of my childhood. All the people from my childhood are either dying or they're in prison for Operation U-Tree. So I mean, it's very, very sad.
Operation what now?
U-Tree.
No, let's not mention that. Let's not talk about it.
Let's not get into that. Butch Wilkins, Ray Wilkins, footballing legend. He might be English, but I've got to acknowledge he was a great footballer. Chelsea paid a lovely tribute to him this morning before the West Ham match. And he died as well this week. And
then the third thing happened.
We can't not talk about the biggest sporting tragedy this week. Touched so many people that the Humboldt Broncos, when that news broke, I just
it was shocking.
Believe it. I was like, just tried to watch it on the TV. It was very slow, the news coming out, and it must have been just terrible.
It happened a number of years ago to another team, Swift Current Broncos.
Yeah.
And they talked about that too. And then so
I mean, our deepest thoughts and sympathies go to all those affected, all the families. Just, it's heartbreaking. When
and you think, forget like hockey as well, but soccer, a lot of teams travel by bus.
Well, that's the thing. Like TSS Rovers, they travel, apart from to Calgary, every other thing is by a bus trip. I've been with them on a bus trip.
And then think of, I remember some either a residency team or one of the Whitecaps junior youth teams was traveling when that bus collapsed. Oh, the train collapsed. Sorry. The bridge.
Yeah,
the bridge collapsed.
They were just a couple of minutes back from.
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's so close. All these things, and people put their kids in, kind of in the protection of these guys to drive.
But I mean, a small community like that, 5,500 people, it's just.
A lot of the kids are not even from there; they're from other places all over the place.
It's just going to take so much to get over.
Yeah, exactly.
Community team. I mean, I know I mentioned East Fife a lot, but we had one of our youth guys who was 18. He was killed in a car crash, and that hit us all hard. That was just one player.
Yeah.
To lose 15 in something like that, to a really small community, it's just unimaginable. Just how you even come back from that, I just don't know. So a very sad week in sport. Let's just hope that next week has some happy news for us to talk about. But we'll get back to the soccer chat now. Whitecaps lost to RSL. Robbo didn't talk after the match. No media were there to talk to him, so that's the main reason that he didn't talk. And Mike Petke did. So we'll bring a little bit of that to you now. He spoke for 9 minutes. We'll just bring you a couple of minutes. Most of it won't be any interest to Whitecaps fans, I'm sure, but let's hear his thoughts on the match and a few interesting comments he made also about the Whitecaps.
Because Vancouver's a counter-attacking team, usually they can really just sit behind the ball. What were you doing today to disrupt that?
Well, we worked on it all week, I mean, how many times did they pump the ball 60 yards in the first half alone, to Kamara and playing off of him? We worked on it all week, having good shape, reacting to no pressure on the ball, and knowing they're going to serve it long and getting the numbers behind and around for winning the second balls. They're a very dangerous team like that. Plus, you couple in the fact that they, especially in the second half, got the ball wide a number of times and whipping crosses into some pretty big boys. They're effective in what they do. And, if one thing, the effort and the defensive structure was there tonight, I'm proud of the guys for that. Well, if I'm being very honest in assessing the team 5 games in, I don't like the way we're playing. with the ball. And I don't think a lot of the players do. And it's not coming down to finger pointing from me, from the players or anything. It's just kind of like, what's going on here? When did we stop? When did we stop playing? When did we stop having ideas? You know, looking at from last year, from preseason this year, all of a sudden it seems maybe a little bit of a confidence thing. So getting him efforts in front of the goal, I don't think he had a ton, but he did have a small handful. And when we're clicking, you know, you guys see it. When we're clicking, our front four especially, we're a pretty damn fun team to watch, but it's been few and far between this year so far, so we're looking to get back to the way we know how to play. But, hey, we won 2-1.
We've been talking about mentality all week. How much of a change in mentality did you see tonight?
Yeah, I think we killed that last week, you know, as a talking point, which I brought up, don't get me wrong. I thought the mentality was very good tonight. Very good, you know, and you even talk about two guys going out, like we said, and the guys coming in, their mental fortitude, and for the rest of the team to all of a sudden, the switch like that happens, for them to gather themselves and continue to work. You know, I thought it was good. Very good. It was a good response.
He's the gaffer. You can try it on with him. He's the gaffer. Even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer. When his back's against the wall, has the answer to it all. He's the gaffer.
He is the gaffer of RSL. Only one gaffer to hear from this week. I've got to say, listening to Mike Petke, it's so refreshing. He is like so brutally honest in his press conferences. I love that.
He brings office supplies into his press conference.
He does. We need more freaking printers. Still going to be my favourite thing, I think, ever from a coach in MLS. Hey, I mean, he is honest, and we've got to look at some of the things he said there. There's another coach after a match saying, yeah, we knew exactly what Vancouver were going to do. And it's always easy to know what a team's going to do. You still have to stop them doing that.
Yeah.
And when the Whitecaps are effective with their long balls, they're deadly.
Yeah.
We've seen it. But everyone knows what they're going to do. And the 60-yard punt that he mentioned.
It went in.
Yeah. Another one as well. I mean, he talked about they practiced all week of having no pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
So they know that the Whitecaps are not a team that's going to put them under any pressure.
Because they want to sit back and they want to soak in the counter. Yeah.
And some teams will struggle with that because they'll be like, oh, I've got so much time in the ball, I've got too much time to think.
That's the reason why sometimes you got to change it up. And you know, a team who is struggling controlling the ball, and they have to practice not having any pressure on them because they're so used to having pressure on them that I think they got to change it up. They got to apply some pressure. Yeah. And I don't know why sometimes maybe it's the like we said before, the conditions. They don't want to wear down the players, and they don't put the pressure on. But we've seen it on other games, other teams too, against other teams where they don't apply pressure.
I'd love to be at a training session for the opposition team, like for Salt Lake, and it's like, no, Justin, no, don't try and tackle him. No, don't go near the ball. Just you stand where you are. Let him have it for as long as he wants. I know it's confusing, but that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, if you're going to play like the long ball type a game, or you're going to play the counterattack, you have to put pressure.
Yeah,
that's the one thing you have to do. You just can't sit back, or at least play sound defending, which they didn't do on those two goals they allowed.
If teams are going to work at the Caps out that quick, they have to have a plan B, a plan C, and that is where they fall down. And that is a criticism that we've given Robbo before, that he struggles during matches to suddenly change things up.
Well, we talked about it lots in the preseason. Like, this is the time to have those plan B, plan C, whatever, those other options, so that you can transition into them within the game, within the season.
Now, I referred to it in part one, but I want to read part of a comment that was left on our match report thing on AFTN from Matic. He says, I wouldn't say that you're afraid to speak freely about Robbo, and perhaps general contentment is in play because the points are being gathered early in the season. But he's hoping that we'll talk in the show tonight that in general, that we say it's absurd to consider giving Robbo his pink slip. And I think Bobby Lenarduzzi...
Who?
Bobo made it very clear at the end of last season, why are you asking about giving Robbo a pink slip? That's not on anyone's minds in the front office right now. That's why we don't talk about it, because it's not something that is getting considered by the club. So, should it be?
Well, I think part of the reason why it isn't is partly because of how they function. But
They're getting
that's
results.
that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
We don't need to.
But they're also getting results. They are like the top 2 or 3 right now this week after this weekend.
Yeah.
In the conference. So
they're still second, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Matic suggests that in our discourse, whenever we talk about Robbo, that we've actually been a bit mushy talking about him, and that we avoid evaluating how he plays, which I don't think is true, because I think we do. But let's have a little chat about it just now. Tactically, one thing to talk about then, he's not good at switching it up. And 5 years into the league, he needs to be better at that. That's not enough for me to get him sacked right now, because we are getting the points on the board.
Yeah.
And as long as he's getting the points on the board, you've got to weigh up points on the board, entertainment. It's a chat we have about all the time. It's something he's asked about a lot at training. And it's modern day football. It's not about entertaining in a lot of regards, but for a lot of people watching modern day football, especially in North America, they do want entertainment. Robbo is never going to give them that. Is that enough for him to get a pink slip?
Well, again, just a point, not to take a tangent. Again, he's at a club within a league structure where there's limited ways you can build your roster, or there's different ways of building your roster.
28 mechanisms.
Yeah, different than the rest of the world, and the club he's at is not really using all of them, especially on the higher talent end of things.
Yeah.
So that's a point. We don't need to discuss that in great detail. I think that's a valid point. And so for me, one of the reasons why I'm maybe not as critical of him is because I do feel like as a coach, he has it's like a boxer with one arm tied behind his back. That's how I feel about it. So it's hard for me to be critical of him and not be critical of the people who've tied the arm behind his back. I
blame the players a lot.
Totally.
Well.
But I've also said to him and said to his face, like you and I wouldn't agree on this approach or that approach or who to sub or whatever, because that's fair, right? Like,
yeah. But the thing is there's other teams that, like before last week, and obviously this week they didn't do well either, but Columbus was on top of the East, and they were beating teams that were spending way more than they do, and actually with an entertaining style as well. A lot of people would consider Columbus to be an entertaining team,
Steve, they
don't spend that much money, especially this year.
And Steve, don't get me wrong. Yeah. The counter criticism of what I just said is what you just said, plus people would say with what he has, he probably could have a different approach.
Yeah, and he could.
And one more thing I'm going to say. If you're going to play this approach, why do you sign so many Latin Americans that might not play that kind of thing? So that's my always confusing
it's something we talked about in the off-season. Yeah. You've got a Latin American team with a UK-style coaching staff, and I don't think those two styles mesh.
I agree. I think that also comes back to like value for player and skill and whatever.
Well, yeah.
But I hear what you're saying in terms of style, because you look even within the league, you look at, like, for example, Kansas City. Kansas City won't bring players in from clubs that don't play a similar style to them. That's their approach.
Yeah.
So they will only bring a player in from a team who plays similar to how they do. That's one of the ways they kind of have set things up.
The reason I don't criticise Robbo is because me and him do have the same mindset of you win by any means necessary, and I don't think he should be sacked just now. If we don't make the playoffs this season, I think he should go.
Didn't someone already ask him this week about this, like with paper or
possibly
radio? The thing Patrick Johnson or JJ Abrams wannabe, whatever, JJ Adams, whatever.
The thing is,
one of them asked him this about the style and the points.
I don't think personally, I don't advocate for anybody getting fired. I especially in the middle of the season. I think it should be reviewed after the year is over. But I don't know.
If Jason Kreis hadn't turned things around this afternoon, I think he's getting close to getting punished.
Well, I don't advocate for it. Other people can. If the team wants to fire him, that's up to them. But
I've advocated a lot of managers to get sacked. He's five over the years.
But I think that I think we
not done this well.
I think we do criticize them enough where I know we're not like yelling into the mics and saying they should be gone tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's our call. But I think we do criticize the way he plays, and we talk about the substitutions all the time. Why
Yeah.
doesn't he substitute there sometimes?
Well, the other thing as well, and then we'll just move on from this point, is who would you have instead of him? That's the thing. It's like, who would you bring in and expect things to be different with the players that you've got? MLS is very much a kind of, I don't want to say a close shop, because there are other coaches that come in, like Savarese's come in from NASL, etc., etc. But it's a lot of the same coaches just moving around the different clubs. Like Jason Christ I mentioned there, moved from RSL. His stock's waned dramatically. For me, if I was going to replace Robbo, the two coaches currently in the league that I would like, one is Mike Petke, because I just think that would be entertaining as hell. And I don't know.
If you were to ask me this, I would say Greg Berhalter from Columbus.
Peter Vermees. I love
Peter
Peter
Vermees.
Vermees.
Yeah, well, those would be my two choices. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Robbo's going to be sticking around.
You don't remember
So
that,
then
Peter
the-
Vermees?
No.
Okay.
Zach's holding his car keys. I mean, who would you replace Robbo with if you were going to move on? And then we will move
Within
on.
MLS?
Yeah, like from the coaches that's there just now.
And no restrictions at all. Just this is fantasy hiring.
Yeah, I don't know. Within MLS, I don't know who.
Patrick Vieira?
He's not within MLS, and I know there's some people here who hate him because of the history, but like Mark DeSantis would be interesting.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind Mark DeSantis as well. Last couple of things.
But that was just the first thought. I haven't
yeah,
put that through my.
I forgot all about him. Last couple of things. Well, he is in MLS because he's assistant coach at LAFC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So he is.
He is. I forgot about that. He'll be here on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna
Just
be good.
to quickly mention a couple of things then, just from individual player performances. We quickly touched on Abini. He had flashes again, but his first touch let him down pretty bad.
I think Abini's a spot starter and mostly a sub player. I don't think he should be on the regular starter every week.
If in one sense it felt like a reward, probably for what's happening in trading, but also.
But why wasn't Shea rewarded?
I know.
That was
Well, there's the thing.
or Russell.
Like
Yeah,
Breck Shea now, how do you leave him out? 2 goals in 2 games.
Don't
You
understand it.
leave him out because the next game is at home.
Oh, maybe they've been. Nicholas Mosqueda, another less than amazing, non-impactful start from him, but he played a long time.
And we asked that question about do you consider him a starter in MLS, and 90% said no. That's pretty damning.
And then last bit, before we get to our player rankings, who should be the set-piece delivery person? Because last year we were deadly on set pieces. This year, is it just that teams have worked out how to defend us on set pieces? Or are we missing that delivery? Is Christian Bolaños such an important person?
That was what I was going to say. Bola provided some quality service for whatever he lacked in pace or
Everything else.
Had a couple of people make comments to me that Felipe is not the guy that they want
on the
doing
dead ball.
set pieces, but then you saw the beautiful ball he gave into.
Well, that was
the
open
header.
play. That was open
True,
play.
but still delivering a ball.
Maybe
the new Felipe
Yeah.
that were linked with Felipe Silva. Can we handle 2 Felipes? That's going to be confusing.
I think the internet's messed up on the 2 Felipes. They've messed up on that.
I think possibly just a tad. But yeah, we are linked with a Brazilian. And you know the success we've had with Brazilians. Thiago Ulysses.
Yeah. I think he's currently playing in Japan too.
He is with Hiroshima.
He's been extended. This is why I'm not sure. He's been extended this year on January 10th, and his contract ends at the end of 2018.
But what also did the internet tell you, Steve?
What was that?
Didn't it tell you something else about?
One of the sites that was mentioned that he was listed as a Whitecaps says that he played last night against RSL. So again,
I think they got
maybe
some stuff.
Maybe it was in the EMLS Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We lost that too.
Yeah, we won't ask for man of the. We won't ask for our man of the match because I know Zach doesn't like doing it when it's a loss. But it is time to get to our player rankings.
I don't like it. I don't like it anyway.
Okay, so do you want to start from the bottom this week, or you want to
Take a block from the bottom and you put it.
I told you I like to start at the bottom.
Okay, so and I'm just going to mention starters because a few of these subs again. Saturday subs were so late in the game. I felt like all of them, so they really didn't make that much. Although
Manchese and
Breck Shea was ranked the third best player, so he obviously made a difference in the limited time he had.
But you're throwing out Chachara and Blundell.
Yes.
Okay.
So Mosqueda, Aha, Marinovic are your bottom three. And Juarez would be
Aha
the
was one of the
fourth
four the Caps had as player of the match, which I was very surprised about. I like Aha, but I was surprised that he was one of the four they came up with.
Efren Juarez was fourth from the bottom. And your top five are Kamara, Alphonso Davies, Breck Shea, who was a sub, Felipe, and Bernie Abini.
Was number one?
Number five.
Oh, okay.
Top five.
That still seems high.
Sorry, I go from 1 to 5.
Okay, I thought you were going from 5 to 1.
The back four and the keeper, yeah, I understand why people didn't have them.
Yeah.
So then I guess that makes you top 5 or top 6 right there.
I guess.
So
but
the one that out of the take away all the defenders was Juarez. People did not rate
So
him very
Kamara
well.
was the man of the match.
And Mosqueda as well, who was really low.
Yeah, I didn't think he did well. Interesting. Anyway, we'll be back with more MLS chat after this.
Hey, it's Stefan Marinovic, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
When he was a kid, he'd be up at 5, take shots till 8, and make the thing dry. Out after school, and back on ice. That was his life. He was gonna play in the big league.
Big league there from Tom Cochrane, played in tribute to the Humboldt Broncos. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio. We're going to look in this part about MLS West, or the teams from the MLS West on the whole this week. 9 of the 12 teams were in action. There was bye weeks for Seattle, Houston and Minnesota.
Which means another week with no points and no goals for the Flyers.
Yeah, they're not doing well. But want to kick this section off, though, just by a little chat about VAR, the gift that keeps giving. Obviously, it didn't give in the Whitecaps game. We're not Atlanta. We'll come to them. They just seem to get all the VAR decisions in their favour. But it was another interesting week for video review. We saw it used on Friday night terribly. And well, you can kind of say terribly. They came up with the right decision. So is it still terrible if they come up with the right decision? New England, Montreal. 5 minutes, I think it was 5 minutes 29 seconds between a foul taking place and the penalty kick then being able to get taken. That's way too long.
Now, was it a technical issue, or is it, because if it's an issue of just watching it and not knowing, then it's not that clear.
About it, and he seemed to take a lot of stuff in his ear, which we've all done over the years.
It's not clear and obvious. I'm still saying that I don't know how the logistics of this is, but they need to have a central, like a group of people.
Yeah.
The hired a group, maybe have all 3-4 refs in there. Like when you have a ref that's been running around or walking around, exerting energy, and then they have to calm down and actually watch a video and kind of like calm themselves down and second guess themselves.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, you might get the correct decision, but you're going to get, it's going to take a long time sometimes for these guys to do it. And it just disrupts the game. Why not have somebody in an office in New York, in San Francisco, wherever they have their headquarters, watching these games and deciding what's a foul and what's not a foul?
I think the Bundesliga does that way. There's an office in Cologne.
And I'm pretty sure that's what they'll do during the World Cup as well. But I'm actually maybe not pretty sure, because who knows with the World Cup. Does it matter how long it takes, though, if they come up with the right decision in the end?
I think so, because it kills the game.
No, I agree. I just want to see what you think.
I think, this is where it needs to be both. Like, it needs to be in a timely fashion, and they need to get it right.
Well, Saturday, the Atlanta LAFC game. Well, we'll talk about the game itself in a sec, but that was a match I think that Ted Uncle's going to want back. A lot of reverse decisions not given and then watched again and given, and first minute, reverse Chris McCann's red card. He'd already left the pitch. He was going up the tunnel, and then one of his teammates were like, "Wait, don't go. We're going to review this." Now, it was the right decision in my mind. I don't think it was a sending off, but I mean that was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to review it, you say to him, maybe don't leave the pitch until we actually review it. Because then he had to sheepishly come back on again. And then they gave him a yellow card, and he was still complaining about the yellow card. He didn't want the yellow card. So I liked that. Then they didn't review a Simon elbow later in the match, which I thought was blatant.
Yeah, I think it would have been really hard for MLS. Like, who do we show more favoritism towards? Is it Atlanta or is it the Goats? Which one?
Then Atlanta got a late penalty from VAR after Zimmerman tackle. I thought that was the right decision, but again, they had to review that, and it was just an absolute mess. But Atlanta, LAFC,
5-0.
5-0.
Yeah.
It was another excellent result for the Whitecaps, and that the LAFC lost.
Wait, is it an excellent result? Is it really exciting to play a team after they've been crushed 5-0? They're coming off two.
Well, with the Whitecaps, it's not exciting to play any team.
Well, right now they're really like down because they gave up.
They're 2-2.
They've basically given up what? How many goals in a row now? 8?
9.
9. Sorry, 9. You're right. 9. I forgot about
that. Is true. Actually.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. Like, if there's anything, LAFC's games this season have been entertaining. Obviously, the Whitecaps will nip that in the bud on Friday night. None of that allowed at BC Place. But it's a joy to watch. Can't wait to tune into them. Atlanta dodged that early red card, and then Julian Gressel had tons of room to slot home the first in the 17th minute. Took until the 67th for Martinez to add a second from a header. Almiron got a late third and fourth from the penalty spot. Romario Williams got a fifth in the 97th minute.
Yeah, it didn't. The 5-0, like it was.
But that's 9 goals in 3 halves of football now that they've given up, and there's 3 goals given up in the last actual 9 minutes of playing time, including stoppage time in this one.
Right.
So don't leave early.
Yeah.
Don't need to arrive early, probably, but don't leave early.
What do you mean you don't need to arrive early?
Well, they never do.
You do
anyway.
need to arrive early because they're honoring Jordan Harvey.
Yes, actually, yeah.
8-minute man Jordan Harvey.
Yeah, right. We won't go into too much detail to preview Friday's match. We'll leave that to our preview show. But
wait, they review this match, so we.
Well, but they do it in a fun way. We don't have fun.
All right.
We're boring.
No fun.
Yeah, we're the boring show.
Quote unquote, no fun city.
Yeah, we're the old guys. They're the young guys that have the new ideas. Jordan Harvey looks like he's going to be playing on Jordan Harvey night on Friday. I'm chuffed for him. Let's honour the guy that they'll probably think he's still going to play. Let's give him a big honour before the game.
Oh, he's going to play.
Although now
we will.
Now we can disrupt him. Because he's got to get through this presentation before the game, so he won't be in a full mindset.
No, he'll be fine.
No, okay, probably.
But if you're Bob Bradley, you want him. He's played on that turf for years. You want him to play, no matter what.
Oh, actually, well, yeah, I think he might have, but I tweeted out because João Moutinho, who he started every match so far for LAFC, hasn't played every minute because Jordan Harvey came on late in one of the games, but he was having a shocker, I thought, yesterday. And he did a tackle that led to a free kick that I tweeted out. Oh, I'm glad that wasn't a red card. Borderline last man tackle. So I tweeted out, I'm glad that wasn't a red card. He's been dreadful. I want him to play on Friday. And then I literally sent that tweet, and probably less than 5 seconds later, he handled in the box for the penalty and got sent off.
Yeah.
That was perfect timing. So
Steve no longer wants to talk about this.
No,
Oh, sorry.
So I mean, Harvey is going to play for him now in the left back role.
Yeah.
And will he go up against Alphonso Davies? That's the thing.
Well, no, he'll be Davies on the left side. He'll be going up against.
But I don't know.
Beitashour.
I mean, well,
no, they'll stick to Chera.
To me, right Beitashour's got a better chance of dealing with Davies than Harvey does.
One of my favorite conversations in 2011 was talking. I think I've shared this before. Talking to Tater Torgerson about the very first.
Was that one of your favorite interviews?
It wasn't an interview. It was just talking, just at a Starbucks, just talking. But
there are other coffee shops.
Oh, yeah. I don't even drink coffee. But the first MLS game at Empire Field, it was like, when you saw that TFC was putting Adrian Kahn at left back, did you change anything? And Tater was like, no. He's like, oh wait, well we did move Davide from our left side to our right so that he could go up against him, which is of course where
I genuinely think
the first 2 goals both came.
I think we will see Davies on the right, and I think we'll see Shea on the left.
Okay,
that's just my thought, just so he can attack him. And I do think Harvey will struggle with Davies more than Beitashour would struggle with Davies. If it's to Sharon Davies, they'll probably switch back and forward anyway, so they're both full-backs. I'll get a thing. But last question then to pose about Friday's game. Will Jordan Harvey know the Whitecaps' weaknesses, or will we know Jordan Harvey's weaknesses?
I think it's a both and. Yes, yes, and yes.
So we have weaknesses that he'll know?
Yes.
Even though it's quite a new team?
Yes.
Okay.
And they'll know how to play against Jordan Harvey.
Speaking of weak teams, Philadelphia was in San Jose.
Well, I was actually, just before we move on to Philadelphia, just one other thing about LA. They lost Agotas Latin from a header last week. Martin is from a header this week from very similar positions.
That means Kamara's the third man.
We talked about we need better delivery, just in general from the Whitecaps. Set piece, but just in general delivery, the final ball into the box. They have to get that right next week, because this is a team that they could really, really punish if they get the ball to Kamara on his head.
Yeah, it seems like when the ball comes into the box, they just duck, the LAFC defenders.
But yeah, let's move on to Philly San Jose. San Jose on the road in Philly. It wasn't a great game.
No.
But what a strike from Magnus Eriksson, giving San Jose the lead. Bedoya tied it up just past the hour mark. And then he had an interesting quote afterwards saying that it's just not good enough up there. Either not happy with how he's performing or just the service that he's getting. Yeah. But definitely not happy times in Philly. But that was a good result for the Whitecaps as well, a team dropping 2 points.
Another good... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's three matches, in this section, 3 matches we talked about, all with sending offs.
Yeah.
All with, other than Atlanta, all with poor attendance.
Yeah, it wasn't a great... RSL had an official attendance of 16,000. It did not look like 16,000.
Dallas and Colorado drew 1-1 as well.
Yeah, that wasn't a great crowd for that either.
No.
Joe Mason, we talked about him last week. Who's Joe Mason? Scored again for Colorado, just past the hour mark.
But then a late equalizer.
Yeah, 89th minute. Christian Coleman tied it up for Dallas, earned him a point. Happy again, a point.
Yeah.
Dallas remained unbeaten and bizarrely are not in the playoff places.
Because I guess they're drawing.
And they crammed 13,000 into their 20,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
And for me, the game of the week, Orlando-Portland today.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the first half before I went to pick my wife up from the ferry, and I thought, it was a bit boring.
Oh, but the last, I think it was a 6-minute period where they scored all 3 goals to come back. Yeah.
So that's a big loss for Portland.
The Valeri PK at the beginning, that was another VAR incident where they were...
Yeah, I think that was
sorry, the Blanco one, where they were about to give Blanco a second yellow for a dive, and then they reviewed it and then ended up giving a penalty instead and reversed the yellow card.
But yeah, Valeri gave them the lead with a PK, and they looked like they were coasting by half time. I thought that game's over and done with. Second half, even more so. Timbers hit the bar, then the post.
A number of times.
That was like just the opening couple of minutes of the second half. I think they hit the woodwork 3 times maybe during the game. Then they went 2 up in the 59th minute from Bill Taloma, good New Zealand boy. They seemed home and dry.
They, aside from obviously having to play on the road because of construction at their stadium, they want to keep things tight with Seattle. They want to let's keep things close.
They want to keep them in distance.
That's going to be a boring 0-0 first meeting. Shame it doesn't count for the Cascadia standings.
Yeah, that is a real shame.
But I mean, I've talked about a couple of weeks that I think Portland's got a lot of great attacking pieces, but I just feel that they haven't thought about their defence this year. And they gave 3 goals up in the last 10 minutes. 2 in 2 minutes. Or 3 minutes, depending on how you look at it. Chris Mueller. And then, as the purple smoke failed to clear, I don't think anyone could see what was going on. Then they gave away a penalty. Yeah. Sasha Kleshton slots a penalty home. 2-2 from nowhere.
And then Dom Dwyer, whoa.
Yeah.
What a turner. He spun around.
That was
nice able
goal.
To gather the ball, too, while he's spinning almost halfway on the ground.
Now, I don't like Dom Dwyer. I think he's a bit of a dick, let's be honest. But that was a good goal. I'll give him that. And if he ever comes to play here, I'll still think he's a bit of a dick. But as long as he scores, I won't mind.
If he gives you a good interview, too.
I was going to say, I'd like to hear your interview. So, Dom, just so you know.
Yeah, Dom.
This is how I feel about you, but
I think you're a bit of a dick. But I'm glad to have you here. And I'm really delighted that Sydney's playing for the new Whitecaps team.
Oh, man.
That'll go down well.
There was a big promo of her in a Surrey Nike store I saw.
Really?
I was like, wait, what?
I found some photos I took of her. Now, they were nice photos.
On the pitch.
Yeah. It was... I was just looking through some old photos, so I was like, oh, it's a very drunk-looking Sydney after winning the gold in the World Cup. She was a bit tipsy.
So
one more interesting thing about the Timbers game is no Ridgewell again.
Yeah, he's on his way.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done and dusted.
I love Orlando's new stadium. Now, again, Tottenham Dix, their fans are a bit of bell ends, but that new stadium and the atmosphere they create is fantastic. You don't seem a fan.
No,
you don't like QC Stadium though either. And I think that's a great atmosphere.
They're the Austin Zombies.
Yes.
So
I just like the look.
That's why
the
Zach
feel,
doesn't like
the
them.
aesthetic of
the
the stadium.
The stadium's not too bad. There's some good things in the stadium.
It's just lovely to see a soccer-specific stadium.
How could you like the stadium when the stadium is the reason they're not in Austin anymore?
Yeah.
Although Atlanta, obviously they're not playing in their soccer-specific stadium, but the atmosphere in Atlanta is amazing.
Yeah.
They're doing fantastic out there.
Back to the West Coast.
Yeah, one more game to talk about tonight.
We talked about hitting the post for Portland.
Yeah.
LA hit the post and missed the net, and they were missing a lot of shots, but they were all over it, Sporting, and I think Sporting's lucky they got a 2-0 win.
Well, you can say that.
But they got the finishes, yeah, right.
But
Sporting.
I would say to you, who needs Zlatan when you have Scotland's Johnny Russell?
Yeah, a good point.
He changed the game. Zlatan did nothing.
Yeah, his
overrated, waste of money.
His goals per minute has gone way down.
He was a sub again, though, which surprised me. I thought he might have started.
He got 30 minutes this time. I don't think he's in full fitness.
I think we joked, or I said something last week. I went back and watched it again. That post-match interview is really. I would be concerned if I was in LA, if I was a Galaxy supporter. But I don't think his knee is right.
No.
Like the way that they asked him about it, then he brought it up or whatever, he brought it up and then they asked him about it again.
At least he doesn't have to play against Matty Laba this year.
True. And he probably will not play on...
He will not play on turf.
The Cascadia games away, I don't know how many of them he'll play in.
Well, there's the thing as well. Galaxy make the playoffs. Does he play on turf?
Not
I think Thierry Henry only played on turf once.
Maybe against
and it was
Portland.
a playoff game against New England.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he played in Portland too once.
Don't remember.
I could have
that.
sworn.
But he
Maybe I
definitely
might
played.
be mistaken.
His last ever game was a playoff game in New England on that horrendous turf.
That's the worst turf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Zlatan play on turf in the playoffs? Because that's a big loss to that team if he can't.
I don't know how much this has been talked about, so I don't know if this has been finalized or whatever. But does Zlatan go to the World Cup? I know he's retired internationally, but
I don't know.
I don't think he's.
I don't think he will.
Yeah.
No. Before we wrap this section up, just some very quick thoughts. CCL in the week ahead. Not a great week. If, like me, you want the Whitecaps to be the first ever MLS team to win the CONCACAF Champions League, you've got to have a dream. I've got my Sydney Leroux dream, and I've got my Whitecaps winning the CCL dream. What one's more far-fetched? That's what I ask you. I hate to say it, tip of the hat, TFC, 3-1 win over Club America. That was a fantastic
That's not a Western
result.
Conference game.
No. But that was a fantastic result.
What do you expect, though, when the police assault your players?
Oh.
Man, I would just watch the DVD of the Toronto Tunnel.
Yeah.
The live feed.
Yeah.
Well,
I googled DVDs about Toronto Tunnel and it threw up some stuff you probably
I don't know if you remember.
Google.
They had trouble before the tunnel at BMO Field. If you remember Chile, the U20 World Cup.
No.
Oh, yeah. Google that.
Oh.
Chile U20 World Cup Toronto. They had an interesting encounter with the police and their players, and yeah.
Will Club
Alexis Sanchez.
Oh. Will Club America's away goal be vital?
That might make a difference.
It
depends on how
genuinely
TFC
fancy TFC to score
really?
down there. The way that they played in the last
against
game,
Tigres, yeah.
But Club
I think
America
be in the final.
Club America on paper is the higher ranked team.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a nightmare scenario.
On paper and off of paper, Club America are still the
best.
Yeah. The nightmare scenario is TFC New York Red Bulls in the final.
Oh my goodness.
Because then you've definitely got an MLS club winning it.
Oh, and yeah.
You'd have to cheer for Red Bulls just because of Timmy Parker.
No.
What, would you cheer for Toronto?
It's my AFTN writer Jay has a scarf. It's Meteor FC. That's all you.
J
can.
Duke?
No, JM.
Oh, we've got too many J's.
Yeah, you do.
I tell you, if TFC win, we'll have a ton of Blue Jays. Because they'll have one. Anyway. But yeah, 1-0, New York lost in Chivas.
What was that?
And
We'll have to talk about it during the
we'll
break.
tell you the break. You missed that. I'll put you in laughing again like last week.
That was really good editing, guys. Let's just for that part. I was like, oh yeah.
And with fingers crossed, it's an all-Mexican final. But we'll be back with more chat after this.
Hi, I'm Carl Robinson. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
I'm looking in, I'm not one for indecision. I can hear my intuition. It feels like time is in our hands, but it's slipping through our fingers. We don't need to be forgiven. I'm not one for superstition. I'm not one. Let go, let go. I put my money on me, look up tonight. It's gonna take us far away.
Welcome back. You're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio.
And that was Miracle by the Darcys, dedicated to my oldest who turned 12 today.
Is his name Darcy?
No, that's his favorite song. One of his favorite songs.
Is it a miracle?
I'm sure you would consider it a child of miracle, having a child.
Maybe
not you.
I class him as an annoyance,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
just me. I don't like kids. But anyway, something I do like.
Oh, by the way, they don't like you too much either.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I know. I remember when I met him. Anyway, something I do like. Songs about football, which means it's my favourite time of the show. It's Wavelength time. And Zach, you're going to be disappointed.
This Wavelength seems a little bit sticky.
Yeah.
Sticky
Well,
kind
Zach
of
will be
Wavelength.
disappointed because I'm pushing back Football Violence Awareness Month to May. So we'll have all our football hooliganism songs in May. I was getting some of them ready this week because I've got the next 3 to 4 months of Wavelengths all planned. So I was getting them ready this week, and I was telling Caitlin, "Oh, this is my football violence songs."
How many of them are in German?
None. Although one of the bands might be German. And then she's like, "Oh, is that the same band as the other two I just played?" It's like, "No, they're 3 different bands." And she's like, "They all sound the
exact same."
It's like, other folk have made that kind of comment as well. But no, this month...
Have you cleared them all? Like, they're all airable?
Well, there's a little bit of swearing in some of them, but...
No, that's not what I meant, but okay.
Oh yes, I've cleared those as well, yeah. This month, our theme is going to be Panini stickers. I've got the next 3 songs of Wavelength are all Panini sticker related.
Like you've just turned the studio into your...
Yes, we'll come to that after the song. So we're going to kick things off with a song from an English band called Halftime Oranges from their Rotterdam Nation album. And this is simply called Panini.
Let's have a look at your swabs. Got, haven't got.
Music's really crap, but the footballers were good. So I bought a book of stickers and I swapped them with my mates. You get 5 in a packet for the price of a Milky Way. But the one card that I couldn't find still haunts me to this day. I've got 48 John bags. No, Mickey Doe. 48 John bags. No, Mickey Doe. 48 John bags. No, Mickey Doe. I don't care how many your brothers got. 48 John bags. No, Mickey Doe. 48 John bags. No, Mickey Doe. 48 John bags. No, Mickey Doe. I don't care how many your brothers got, haven't got.
Norwich band Halftime Oranges there from their Rotterdam Nation album with a song called Panini. I don't know why I haven't played any of their songs on Wavelength before. I had a look at that because they've got 2 full albums that I've got of football songs, and for some reason I've never played them before, so we'll get them in it more now. The name Halftime Oranges actually reminds me of one of my favourite football jokes stroke sketches.
Okay.
It's a Scottish comedy show, and there's 2 youth players talking, and one guy's talking about how good his club looks after him. He's like, oh yeah, they do all this thing for me, and then they pull me off at half time.
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, really? I only get an orange. But that song was all about Panini.
Yeah.
And it's that time of year again.
Yeah, Panini stickers coming on.
But yeah, the new Panini album is out for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Love the pages of football hooligans that they've added to this one.
I think it's the only Panini album not currently in the studio.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's very hard to get, as Ryan McLeod tried to find. He went round all these London drugs, all out of stock.
Yeah.
We talked last week about how much it costs to actually complete a sticker album.
Approximately.
And what I've decided to do for this one...
You're ordering online and getting all the stickers.
I am.
Nice.
It's $189 or $169 if you don't want the hardback book.
$169 what though?
US dollars.
Yeah, okay, that's what 100.
So that's over $200 to get your...
You're getting the
complete
hardback.
album. I think I will get the hardback this time. But what I thought would be good radio is I've brought all my Panini sticker albums along from 1982.
Yeah.
So let's look through them now for the next half hour. Now we're going to take some photos of these.
So when you thought of this, you were saying we were going to be done by 12:30.
Yeah. In hindsight, that is not going to happen. But
shocking that
I just thought I'd get you to pick what you feel your favourite cover is.
Spagna 82.
So there's a Spagna 82, and we'll tweet these out.
That is very nice.
I love the 86.
This is the iconic one for
because
me.
I see a flag that I really like.
Yeah, I agree.
Scotland one?
No, the one over there.
Italia 90.
That guy looks almost like Jurgen Klinsmann.
That kind of looks like some stories I used to read, the drawing, the artistry.
Yeah.
Like when I used to read those books.
Picture Story Monthly, maybe? Because that's what I read as a kid. I've been trying to get some of those on eBay. This is the tacky American 94 one.
That
That's
is
a
the
really
worst
bad
one,
cover.
easily worst one.
That's awful.
France one's not much better.
No. So far I like the earlier ones.
Korea and Japan.
That's not bad.
There is a Wavelength song by Goldie Luke and Shane about the Korea-Japan World Cup.
I can't wait for that.
I can't play that.
I'm disappointed there's no samurai or something like that.
Well,
it seems very organic.
The next one's going to be the best, though.
Is it?
Yeah. There's your German one.
A Time to Make Friends.
The Germany 1938 one wasn't as PC.
Again, I'm not a big fan of this one either.
South Africa 2010.
Bafana.
And the one which I've got open in the studio just now.
Wait, are those all complete?
No.
Oh,
the only one that is complete is this 2010 one.
Oh, okay.
Because I bought the full sticker set for that. And after buying it, I felt it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than ripping it open and just getting a good smell of the stickers. And I didn't get that in 2010.
You could just buy
I did smell the stickers, but it just wasn't the same.
No, you could buy 10 extra packs and just smell every couple of days or something.
Every couple of days, just
so you can trade with your friends just for fun. Ryan, you and Ryan can trade.
We will be.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And funny you should mention that because that brings us to our new section.
We should mention which cover we like the best.
Oh, yes.
I personally think it's the Italian one.
Yeah,
Was it the Italy one?
Italian.
You like the Italy one?
Not Spain.
Yeah, I like that one.
I
like this one too, but I like the Italian one better.
I'm torn between my heart says 2006, but my head says 1986.
Yeah. I like the 91, but I agree the 86
Michael's going to
solid.
hold it.
What we'll do for when the World Cup's round, we'll have a poll, and we'll do this on Twitter as well, as to what your favourite mascot is. Because I just saw the Spain one.
Golio.
I love Nanjarito or whatever it was from Spain 82.
Is that him there?
Yeah.
No,
I've got a belt with him on it that I still have.
Golio and Pile. The little ball. They're good.
Well, you talked about completing albums, and I only have one that is complete, but that does bring us to our new section.
I've seen Michael at concerts before, and he does not dance nearly as much as he does in this studio.
Well, I mean,
the
iconic song there.
No, the Wavelength song, I say that the way he was dancing, he would get some money from some Dutchman.
Arcade Fire this year, you had arms folded and you were bopping to the music.
Yeah, that was a good gig.
But yeah, it was great. But not like you in the studio, you go like crazy.
I think it's the headphones being on
it
or
could
something.
Be. And that and the heat in here, because
Yeah.
it's really hot in here tonight.
The heat makes you move.
Yeah. But that was the theme tune for Multicoloured Swap Shop. Who remembers that?
That's a no for me.
It was a BBC children's show from 1974 to 1982.
Yeah, there you go.
I talking to Caitlin tonight, and I was so excited that I was going to be launching this segment, and I said, Multicoloured Swap Shop, I'll play that. And I went, there'll be 5 people I can think of that's going to listen and know what that is. And her reply was, that many? She's not a fan of most of the things I do. But Multicoloured
she
Swap
loves
Shop,
you.
Well, we'll get into that another time. Multicoloured Swap Shop was a big part of my childhood. And what part of the show, what it was, is you phoned up and you'd like...
You're like, Michael, I'm Michael and Fife.
Yeah, it's like, I'm Michael from Fife.
And I just need an Archie Gilmore.
I've got a bike and I'd like to swap it for a stylophone. And then they would put that on the board, and then you would call 0800, whatever the number was, and then it's like, I've got a stylophone, I'd like to swap for Michael's bike. So what I thought we would do is we would introduce Swap Shop.
But then how do you get it? Do you like mail it to each other?
Yeah.
So you gave your information over the phone?
Yeah.
And then, wow, okay.
Yeah, and then it was on TV for
It was a
everyone
different
to see.
time. It was a more...
Yeah, it was a different time in the 1970s with children's TV presenters. We're back to Operation U-Tree.
Kids would come on the phone and give their addresses and say, I'm home all by myself.
But yeah, we're going to do Swap Shop. So yeah, call in with your swaps on 604-822. No, we're not going to do it by telephone, Zach. Zach's like, what are we doing here? Zach's gone. But I thought we would do a Panini swap via AFTN. We can do it on the show. We can do it via Twitter. We'll do it on the site. So just to help people complete their albums. And what I really want help with is completing my 2014, first of all,
I will try
Brazilian World Cup.
I will try and help you with this. I'm going to take home all of your doubles.
Yep, I've brought my doubles into the studio, so I've got them here.
I'm going to take all those home and fill up my book, and I'll bring you whatever I have left of that and my doubles from home.
Well, if you can fill me, that would be awesome. I'm looking for number 4.
Well, I don't have my...
Number 14.
Okay, yeah.
Number 18.
Write this
I'm
down.
Michael from Fife,
by the way, rewind it a few seconds.
Yep, so,
write everything down.
You have the whole Brazilian
14,
team.
18.
You got a full Brazilian.
I've got a lot. 71. I like a full Brazilian, I've got to say. Gets a little bit itchy after a while. 109.
So you don't know the names? You don't know the names of these?
I do. Well, I'll go back to the start and give the names as well.
Marcello.
Anyway, you get the idea. We're going to do this on the site. So if anybody is looking for completing their albums, let's get everyone's 2014 ones done first of all. Then we'll do the women from 2015.
There was one for the 2015?
Yeah. I've got lots of extras for that as well. And then we'll try and do my 2016 Copa America one.
I just have
I did a lot of
two
help with
giant... From the Women's World Cup, we still have the 2 giant... who is it? Christine Sinclair and... Jose Belanger?
Oh.
Yeah, we have like the giant images of their heads.
Oh, the heads.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that was Swap Shop.
Flash 5. AFTN. Rank it, baby. 5 to 1. Flash 5. AFTN. Rank it, baby. 5 to 1. Flash 5. AFTN. Rank it, baby. 5 to
It's another Flash 5.
Yeah, return to Flash 5 after a few weeks.
Is it Panini stickers?
Months. No.
'Cause I'll give you mine. So
No,
from
no.
1980. Okay.
So a couple of brothers retired this week in Vancouver of a different sport.
No, the Polices are still playing. I saw them in the Imperial Cup.
Can I ask you a
I just
question
said different sport.
Oh.
Did they like make an announcement and then they retire like a week later?
They basically made the
What's
announcement
up with
Monday
that?
because
They get all the heat off their bad season.
No, it was basically they didn't want to announce it because they didn't want a farewell tour.
They didn't want to land in Donovan where every team gets
Yeah, exactly.
And then you come.
And then they come back. Yeah, no, They've changed their mind. They're going to be back next season.
Because for the last game, they were given something by the Edmonton Oilers. So they were given. So they didn't want. They're not that type of players, apparently.
And then
they were given something on Thursday night as well by the Coyotes, I believe. Two goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't they get score? Didn't one of them score the winning goal?
Winning goal, yeah.
It was Latin style Hollywood writing.
They came back.
They are Swedes.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Exactly. Okay, so we decided to rank. Now these aren't twins, but they're one is. I think one set is actually. But top 5 brothers that played football, not necessarily on the same team, but played football. In fact, 2 of them played on rivals. So it's interesting. So number 5, we had 5 people vote on this too, including you two and myself and Chris and Joe Deasy. So
I really warped the vote.
No, you didn't warp the vote. You almost did, but it came close. You made it closer than it was. So number 5 was Socrates and Rai, the Brazilian duo.
Right.
Both of them were attacking midfielders. Rai spent time with. He's a lesser known one. But he spent time with Sao Paulo and Paris Saint-Germain. Combined 10 titles for between the two teams.
So the thing about him is he's the lesser known brother, but he won the World Cup.
Yeah.
But the problem was
he captained during the world round robin.
Yeah.
And then Dunga took over.
Well, because he was dropped from the side.
Exactly. And he was named 1992 South American Player of the Year. Socrates, he spent about 10 years Botafogo and Corinthians. Yeah. He won 7 titles there in those 2 teams. He spent time with other teams as well. But he was part of the 82 World Cup, which a lot of people said was the best ever.
Yeah.
But they
basically
lost to Italy, who eventually won the World Cup.
Giuseppe Rossi. No, wait. Dino Rossi?
No.
Paulo Rossi. I don't
remember.
I forget.
Where's Mass when you need him? Number 4 was Giuseppe and Franco Baresi.
Should have been first.
Well, you voted them first. They're the ones that played on the opposite teams. One played for Inter, and that would be Franco Baresi. Giuseppe Baresi played for Inter. Was the captain for the team. Played 18 years for that team. 2 Serie A titles, 2 Italian Cups, 1 Supercoppa Cup, and a UEFA Cup, which was a Europa League. Franco Baresi, probably the most touted one. Was a defender. Played 20 years for AC Milan. 15 years as a captain. 6 Serie A titles. 4 Supercoppa Cups. 3 Champions Leagues and a 1982 World Cup.
It was Paulo Rossi and Dino Zoff for the Italians. We're talking before. Franco Baresi was amazing, and I didn't know much about his brother.
Yeah,
because I didn't watch him like I did watch Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was part of the 82 World Cup winning.
Oh, do you want me to get my Panini sticker out?
No. Oh. He was part of the 82 World Cup winning team.
Yeah.
But the heartbreak at the end of his career was when Rai won his World Cup was he missed one of the penalties against Brazil in 94 in the final.
Oh, boy. What's going on? Some ripping. Oh, he's taking out a Panini sticker. Okay, so number 3 were the De Boer brothers, Ronald Frank
and Ronald De Boer.
Ronald spent most of his time with Ajax. With stops, Ajax with stops in Barcelona and the Rangers. Ooh, he spent time in Scotland. 5 Eredivisie titles, 1 Champions League, 1 La Liga, 1 Scottish title, 2 Scottish Cups, and he was named 2-time Dutch Football Player of the Year. Frank, who was a defender, spent time with similar teams. I think they went together. I think they were the twins.
Yes,
I'm almost
they
sure.
are twins, yeah.
Ajax, where he won 5 titles. Barcelona, where he won a La Liga, and he won the Champions League with Ajax as well.
They were amazing. That was the first Champions League game final I remember ever watching. Was when they beat when Kluivert scored the goal in Vienna against Franco Baresi's Milan team.
Yeah,
and that was an incredible side of players from Ajax, and they were at the heart of it.
Number 2. I'm going the wrong way. Number 2, the Laudrup brothers from Denmark. Brian Laudrup, Bayern Munich, Fiorentina, Rangers, and Milan. He won the double at AC Milan, the Serie A title and the Champions League. 3 Scottish titles, 1 Scottish Cup for Rangers. He won part of the 92 European title, beat Germany. 95 Confederations Cup, and he was 4-time Danish Player of the Year. Now, Michael, who everybody thought was the better player by a lot of people, he won a Serie A title with Juventus, 4 La Liga titles and Champions League with Barcelona, 1 La Liga with Real Madrid.
Yeah.
He skipped the 92 championship because he wasn't a big fan of the coach and the style of play. They were very defensive. So he never came back. Well, his brother did, but he didn't. That was the year they won. He did return for the 95 Confederations Cup. And he was 2-time Danish player.
So he's one of the players who went to Real and Barca.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot about that.
And number 1...
Marcello and Matteo Polisi.
Hey! No, it was Jack and Bobby Charlton.
I voted them number 1. Somebody here didn't.
I didn't vote him number 1. I voted him number 2.
Okay, well, 2 people here didn't.
But one person voted him last.
Yes.
And the reason will come soon enough. But first of all, Jack Charlton, center back, spent 23 years with Leeds. 1 First Division title, which is the Premier League back then. 1 FA Cup. He was English Player of the Year for one time, and he was part of the 1966 World Cup. Bobby Charlton played 17 years with Man United. He was the leading scorer until Wayne Rooney passed him. 3 First Division titles, 1 FA Cup, 1 Champions League, 66 World Cup, 1 English Footballer of the Year, just like his brother, and 1 Ballon d'Or. And those would be the 5. Oh, and also, in the 66 World Cup, they beat Germany.
Yeah, which
they shouldn't have counted. Sure.
Yeah, the winning goal.
Damn, where was VAR when we needed
the winning goal did not go in. That's I'm just not a big fan of theirs because of that, and because Bobby was so big for United, and I didn't love that. My first exposure to Jack Charlton was the '94 World Cup when he coached Joe Deasy's Ireland.
Yes,
and
I've got a sticker album about that. I'll just get that.
I remember. The funny thing about Bobby Charlton was he was one of the first players to be released from hospital from the Munich disaster.
Yes.
Kind of coincidence with Humboldt this week.
Yeah. I don't have the sticker album for the 1966 World Cup because
there was none.
Yes. It started for 1970. Anyway, I'm sure you're all riveted by that
Thanks
section.
for the top 5.
Yeah, that was a really good one. We'll have some more flash fives to come.
Wait, what about the other? Are we doing the other half of that?
What other half?
Well, Chris Corrigan did.
Oh, the non-football brother.
I did it too. Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't have time to research.
Can
all
we
that.
just talk about it?
We'll do that next week. Then.
Oh, okay. Let's do it next week.
Let's do that next week. All this chat about stickers and just chat in general. I mean, Zach was complaining he was hungry, so he's going to want to eat something on the way home.
Because I didn't have a dinner tonight.
So what would be better to eat at this time of night?
Fish and chips.
Chips
and chips, chips and fish. My, oh my, what a wonderful dish. Put some salt and vinegar on, and you'll be licking your lips.
So Gordon, you're out, you fancy some fish and chips. Do you have the chips and the fish with salt and vinegar, or salt and sauce?
Well, first of all, I don't eat any seafood, so I'll probably go for a chip butty, as you probably know what that is. And I would have salt and some HP sauce.
Not the chip shop sauce like Kerry.
Back in Scotland, I would have the chip shop sauce, but over here it's... I would probably take it home with the salt on it, and I've got my own delivered HP from Scotland that my mum sends me, and I would put it on then.
That's great, cheers.
How much is the fish? How much is the fish? How much is the chips? Does the fish have chips? How much is the fish? How much is the chips? How much is the fish? Does the fish have chips?
You should have asked where he gets his fish and chips, because he lives in Surrey, South Surrey, or whatever. I think that's where he lives. And there's some great fish and chip spots in White Rock.
We just had fish and chips last week at Pago's.
Oh,
in Stevenson's Village.
That's good.
I love that.
I like that. Yes,
I like Cockney Kings.
They're good too.
The best for me in White Rock is Moby Dick's.
Oh. I think the one thing we can take from that segment, though, is it's really hard to say chip shop sauce. Let's try. Chip shop sauce.
Chip sauce.
What is it? Chip
shop sauce.
Chip shop sauce.
Okay, we'll be back with more after this.
Hi guys, this is Felipe. Thanks for listening AFTN.
pictures of myself. Pick out dust them off, put them back up on the shelf. Just my little baby girl is in need. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still.
That was Feel It Still by Portugal the Man. We dedicated the last song to my older one. Younger one turned 10 on April 3rd. I have 2 kids within 5 days, so busy week.
Wow,
birthday
your
week.
wife was busy that
Birthday
that
week.
year?
It was 2 years apart.
Oh, okay.
That's not how kids are born 5 days apart.
Okay. And Portugal the Man, because he looks a bit like Cristiano Ronaldo?
No, just his favorite song.
Oh, okay.
So do you do like a joint party?
Sometimes.
I'm a bit
It
young
depends.
for that. It's not legal either until July 1st.
It's not. It's not.
That's not good.
It's not. It's difficult sometimes to do it joint because they both hate it.
And he loves one more than the other, as we established a couple of shows ago.
Well, no, this one actually kind of likes you and your choice of music and everything. And the stickers.
This one I like. Yeah, this is my favorite.
This is the offspring that you give all the chocolate that Michael gives you?
No, that's the older one that gets all the chocolate.
Who was the one you brought to the WFC2 game that kept ramming toys and cars into my foot?
Older one.
I didn't like him. Anyway, it's time now for BC Soccer Web headlines. BC Soccer Web Headlines is brought to you by bcsoccerweb.com, your one-stop site for local, national and international news and links. Make it part of your daily routine. Check out bcsoccerweb.com. What's been catching your eye in the site this week, Steve?
Not too much. Bill decided to take a couple days off.
How dare he?
Yeah, exactly. No, but there were some interesting stories actually. First of all, VAR is not a big. They're not a big fan of VAR in Italy. The headline is package of bullets
Or
sent
in the Robinson household. I believe.
Package of bullets sent to Italian Referees Association. I don't think Robbo's doing this. Apparently, a lot of people are complaining. While Lazio seems to be the biggest haters of VAR. Apparently, a journalist has suggested to shoot referees. About proper journalists. 1,000 Lazio supporters protested at the kind of the Football Federation, Italian Football Federation offices, and Lazio coach has claimed that VAR has cost them 7 points over the whole season so far.
But how many points has it brought to them?
I don't know. Clearly, they don't mention that part.
So, Michael, you remember the song "I Shot the Sheriff, but I should have shot the referee"? It's meant in jest. This is taking
serious,
it to another
yeah.
level.
A story out of Finland. Clubs in Finland banned from postponing matches they could play away. They're basically they're not allowed to suspend matches if it is poor weather, and because in order to avoid match congestion at the end of the year.
Well, a lot of them, artificial pitches are massive over there.
They'll have to
they're
find
the same size as elsewhere in the world, but I mean they're popular over there.
Yeah, and so they said they'll have to find another venue or lose the home advantage if they don't want to play in temperatures below. Team was told that footballers can't get food bonus if they win. So Accrington, it's a League 2 team. Their owner, Andy Holt, has been told by the English Football League that if he wants to buy McDonald's for the players, it has to be whether they win or lose. Apparently, he says he's only buying them McDonald's if they win.
Yeah, and they actually tweeted out, they won at the weekend, and they tweeted out, another win, you know what that means, and they're outside McDonald's.
That's just sad.
Yeah.
What's League 2?
Yeah, healthy diet.
Yeah.
Coming to MLS and soccer south of the border, Precourt has been given, and MLS have given a deadline to respond to the Columbus lawsuit. It's April 19th. Now, essentially, they're thinking it's nothing going to come of this. This seems like Columbus crew is the supporters. This is what they're hanging on to. So it seems like this April 19th date is what is going to be. We'll see what happens at that point.
Well, news also came out this week that the mayor of Columbus has wanted to see Precourt's books and accounts because they have interested bidders from Columbus to buy the team.
Yeah.
But Precourt doesn't have to sell.
No, he doesn't. But unless this lawsuit goes through where they say that you have to give that thing a proper chance. Well, we didn't talk about this. Former Whitecap, Canadian international David Edgar joins Nashville SC.
Yeah.
Your guys' thoughts?
Pleased for him.
They're going to MLS next year or the year after?
It's a great opportunity for David because he's at a club that's right now in a very exciting time. They're preparing for next season. If he does well, he could be back in MLS. I still think he had a chance to make the Caps roster.
But technically, isn't it not? It's not the exact same team, is it? Like only one of the owners is a part of this. That's a part of the MLS bid. But
I think they will bring some of these players to MLS. That's the thing. It's almost like a trial period.
So it's a chance for Edgar to prove himself. And if nothing else, it's a high level, the USL. So after this year, he can decide if he's got a chance to make the move to MLS, Canadian Premier League on the high,
or maybe back
horizon.
to Europe.
On the one hand, for me, it feels like the level's too low. But hopefully,
he can definitely play at a high
coming off
level.
the horrendous injury that he had. Hopefully, it is a time where he can refine his form and then get back to a higher level.
Wish him all the best. Really loved chatting with David last year.
For real.
Another team in that's hoping for MLS in the future as a USL team, Charlotte Independence. They're set for the stadium move. They're going to American Legion Memorial Stadium. They're going to get $32 million to renovate the stadium, and they'll begin playing in there in 2021. 17,000 current, but has been at one point 24,000. The stadium was built in 1934. So
like a historic site?
Yeah, it's a historic place. So they're looking to renovate. They're not going to tear down and rebuild or anything like that. USL and ESPN expand broadcast agreement through 2019. Essentially, this is kind of similar to what MLS is doing now. There will be their streamers. It'll be 6 games on network TV. I think it's ESPN 3, if I'm not mistaken, and the remaining will be on ESPN Plus.
So, Steve, what you're telling me is they can't watch USL on YouTube anymore?
I guess not.
That sucks.
Did they ever even have it on YouTube?
They were all league was
all
YouTube.
on YouTube.
Yeah. So it'll be ESPN. Maybe it'll be because they can.
They're still going to be on YouTube. It's just it's like the broadcast deal for like Game of the Week and stuff like that in the playoffs.
Okay.
But also, I think even if it was like blocked or anything like that, they are able to in certain they make it available. They only block it in America on YouTube.
Yeah, because we can't watch anything because we don't get ESPN.
Yeah,
sadly.
And for the news about the World Cup 2026, it's getting closer to that point, and FIFA's White Elephants warning after Morocco bid criticism. Basically, the Moroccans are complaining about that infrastructure vote that we've talked about where they need a minimum 2 out of 5 in order to even bid. They're saying this has come last second in order to screw their bid and make it favorable for North America. FIFA's kind of told them that we don't want temporary stadiums. Like that's what a lot of people have criticized. Like, for example, we talked about the Brazil stadium.
Yeah.
Some of these Qatar stadiums apparently might not be permanent things. So
because Qatar said they're going to build them and then they're take them down and ship them to other parts.
Yeah, which to me makes sense. It's like there's no point having empty stadiums that aren't going to get used.
I just know how realistic that is, but
yeah.
And then you see what they did in Russia, and I guess you can put a temporary stand.
Can we maybe get our waterfront stadium from Qatar?
It would be nice if it's air conditioned too. This summer.
Oh yeah.
Part of this. It wasn't part of the headline, but then part of the article had North America getting the support of Saudi Arabia in this.
Yeah, because Saudi Arabia supports the States.
Yeah.
But Egypt came out and backed Morocco this week.
Yeah, but another European team that brought back Morocco was France.
Yeah.
They have obviously they speak the same language.
Yeah.
And I think they just have a connection and everything like that. Well, the French is spoken in Morocco.
No, I know. Yeah. I was saying they speak Moroccan in France.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. We'll let Zach gather himself.
We always got to have a good Morocco-related joke.
France and Morocco is really close together as well.
The driving distance. You can actually drive from France to Morocco. It's a ferry you can take across.
I was going to say, it gets a little bit watery at one point.
You need one of those James Bond Aston Martins. Actually, it wasn't Aston Martin that was a sub. It was something else. I forget what kind of car that was.
Aston Villa?
They do sing pretty quick.
That's very true.
Sorry, Duncan.
Anyway, that was a good selection of headlines there. Not much more of this show to go. I don't think we're going to make 12:30 finish. Just a little bit over that goal, but still within our 2 hours. So, oh well. Bang goes my sleep for getting ready for work tomorrow. Just before we do go, though, I just want to chat a little bit about TSS Rovers. If you maybe saw on AFTN during the week, we announced the 24 of the first 24 names on the TSS male roster, and we revealed 21 players on the first ever TSS Rovers women's roster, headlined by Jordan Huitema. Looking forward to seeing her over this summer. And the men's roster, very exciting as well. A lot of former Whitecaps, residency players, and some really good local talent. A lot of the guys played in the VMSL Imperial Cup on Saturday. Won that 2-0. Can only bode well for the Rovers season to come. But just before we do go, I just want to let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
It's at Zachary AM for me, and I'm a part of the Movement Cover Collective.
I'm Michael McCoy. You can find me on Twitter at AFTN Canada. Read all our stuff away from the numbers, aftn.ca. A lot of stuff going up on the site this week. Give us a follow on Instagram as well, at AFTN Soccer. And you can also find me online looking at online eBay auctions for trying to complete my Panini sticker albums. Very expensive. Especially to try and complete my 1982 album.
I was going to say some like 36-year-old stickers.
Yes. You can still get lots of them on eBay, bizarrely, but they're very expensive. But anyway, that is it for this week's show. Thank you for listening to our nonsense again this week. Until next time, watch out for the preview podcast on Thursday. Might be Wednesday this week because it's an early game. But anyway, until then, thanks for listening. Take care. And mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers, away from the numbers.
EFTN.